rewards, but again, we learn them in this incredible journey of running.
Joining me for a panel discussion were 4 women from my book who helped me get faster and stronger after the age of 50.
I, Kirsten, is Professor Catherine Sabiston, who is a professor here at the University of Toronto, specializes in something called health psychology.
She worked on called the Montreal Masters Study, looking at 75-year-old and older world record holders. So the only way you can get into this study is to be over 75 and set a world record. So it's pretty tough. And
Catherine was looking at the cognitive function, the relationship between exercise and cognitive function. Now, when I went to the Montreal Masters Study and hung out there, and I met a woman called McHugh, who's 85, this could be me at age 85, if I can muster up the motivation to keep running until I'm 85. And so I brought that question back to Catherine, how do I do that? And you told me that I couldn't just put a picture of BJ on my fridge and stick my head over hers. That I had to muster up something called intrinsic motivation now.
What you really want to do is focus on what we call intrinsic motivation, which is really just enjoyment. So the one question that I get again and again, what is the best exercise? How do I start exercising? What's the best one? And I say the best exercise is the one you like. The best exercise is the one you'll do. So if I tell you that the best exercise is biking and you hate biking, you're not going to bike, so you're not going to get the benefits anyways. So I mentioned putting the picture on the wall. What struck me was a lot of the research that's done around body image and around the same sort of idea that, you know, a lot of women put these pictures on their walls about what they want to look like, and that's what we call extrinsic motivation. It is the idea that you're striving for something that is completely out of your control. You will not look like that person no matter how hard you try. So the best thing to do is to put a picture of yourself up there with the goals that you want to reach that level of enjoyment.
I met BJ, I was a week away from running the fastest marathon of my life. And I was really feeling fit and pretty proud of myself. I just turned 51 years old, and then I looked across the room at BJ and I thought, okay, she's 85. And through this various testing that went on, by many measures, she was fitter than I was. What did you find out? Did these Masters, Masters athletes have any particular tricks? They keep training like, you know, 20-year-old athletes, Olympic athletes.
It really was about the enjoyment of it, the set your personal standards, set your own goals, and go out and achieve them. And I think one of the challenges as we age is that there's less and less things in life that we set as challenges for ourselves. And so exercise and running and physical activity is something that you can always improve on. You start feeling good, you start running, you start training, you can see the improvements that you make. Those improvements make you feel more confident, make you enjoy it more, and you end up finding that's what you want to do more than anything.
You analyzed their mental wellness. The Masters athletes were also paired up with an age-matched cohort who was healthy but didn't follow any kind of an exercise program.
All the Masters athletes were far superior in terms of, you know, conversations, in terms of language, in terms of statistically what we found, and this is consistent across all the literature in cognitive function, is that the Masters athletes had higher levels of working memory, learning, and sort of executive function is what we call it. They reported having better feelings, they reported less depression symptoms, they reported more satisfaction with life. So all of these being statistically significant on the cognitive level as well as sort of the emotional well-being aspects as well.
So if I continue to run and I get to be 85 and I compete in the World Masters, you know, but I finish last, right, and the world record holder finishes first, will I still have the benefits, or do I have to finish first?
But what is it really about the differences between first and last at that level? And you're gaining all the benefits by training. But the bottom line is training and finishing last, or never doing a marathon, but running 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers, whatever you want to do, you're going to gain tremendous health benefits.
Is there a magic dose of exercise we should do for cognitive health and mental well-being?
At this point, there's really no one guideline on cognitive function. Those guidelines of 150 minutes are based on anything from physical health to mental health, social well-being, everything. All the benefits are associated with that 150 minutes. Start somewhere. You know, you can't start out and think that you're going to run 150 minutes next week if you've never run before. So that small steps towards just achieving a little bit at a time towards that goal is much more manageable. Based on this, on the studies that we have now, the technologies that we have, we can do fMRIs, we can look at brain function, we can see that the gray matter in the brain around the hippocampus, which is the executive function and memory, does increase with exercise. We can see blood volume changes in the brain. Any level of aerobic exercise when done, where you're pushing yourself, whatever that is to you, benefits cognitive function.
I was on a fairly, rigid training program, but I was trying to add one day to my week. Right? I'm thinking I'm not starting from scratch. I'm just adding one more workout to my, and I found it very difficult. Any tips on that? I mean, yeah, it's fun. Like, make it fun. Okay, it's fun. But really, one more day?
You say it tongue-in-cheek, but it is about that finding that self-talk and that regulation that gets you out of bed and gets you out on those terrible winter days or rainy days, because it's about focusing on the positives and what you're going to benefit from that. It really still does come down to enjoyment. It's just about reframing that it's not just one other day or that other crappy day that you have to add to your regimen. It's one more great day that you get to add to your schedule.
I will say one thing on that. I did start weight training 2 days a week in this year, and I talk about this in my book. The progress that you make in a short period of time is phenomenal. I mean, you don't think as you're going out there and doing it that you really is making much of a difference, but then suddenly 3 months later, I'm lifting twice as much weight as what I did when I started, and I'm like, what? So that's that did help me. Catherine told me one of the coolest terms in the book. I'm a writer, so I like words. And she talked about social contagion, and I really like that term.
Yeah. So social contagion is really just the idea that when you're around people, it's contagious. To me, it was a pretty neat study where we had people run on a treadmill side by side, and the experimental group, the woman running beside the other woman, would say every 3 minutes she would just say, this is great, I love this feeling, sort of what the intrinsic motivation. And the other group, they would say, oh, I'm just here for the $20. So the extrinsic or the intrinsic. And what we found was that women running beside the woman saying the intrinsic statement, it was literally just 3 things. And you probably say a lot more than 3 things to your beaner friends, right? So 3 comments in the span of the study. The women ran longer, harder, faster, reported that they didn't feel like they were running as hard just by those small little comments. So, I mean, the bottom line is when you drag someone to the gym with you, or when someone drags you to the gym or out for a run or wherever you're going, is to remember to not only think positively, but speak positively, because you really do impact the whole environment around your exercise routine.
Yeah, so stop complaining, Mary. Thank you so much.
So it's never too late to be the athlete you want to be. It's also never too late to get it back.